Hello YouTube, Ronin Kaze, blasted music. Oh well, there it is. Well, now it's the final countdown. Please like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Buy me a cup of coffee or a more appropriate Monster. I'd appreciate it. So, I've been struggling with my Linux setups. And yes, it's possible to dual boot. But what I found was at the end of the day, I went over my Asus G14 and I was either going to have to move partitions, which was, I just said, am I done with Windows? Yes. So I backed up all my files, and I had backed up most of those files before, but you know, tax returns, those kind of things, or whatever, stuff that you kind of need in an archive. And then I just overwrote the whole thing with Linux. So it's one contiguous Linux and no problems. Okay, here's what I'm doing. I want to do a legendary. Yesterday or a couple days ago, I did a legendary Tidal Basin, got smoked, was in a group with small people. I'm joining up tonight, and sometimes this is a good or a bad thing. Survey says, I don't know what I'm jumping into. Ooh, final mission. The guy only has 550. This is probably going to be brutal. So I switched to my legendary Vial Jammer build, which is a build that has Vial Jammer, China Light backpack with spreading, and then China Light chest piece with unbreakable, and the rest are improvised gear. And it's all loaded with 12% reduction to elite. Plus, it's not an electronics build, it's a survival build. So I got the max amount of longevity against yellows. So I just threw Linux on that laptop and said the heck with it. So I had CatchyOS on my Legion Go, and then I said, and when I was playing on the Legion Go, I didn't have the same capability when it was straight CatchyOS, not the handheld edition, to change the TDP and all those other things. So I decided I was going to put CatchyOS. I mean, also I had a boot problem. And also they had the same Windows here, recovery partition here. So I bit the bullet, and after several loadings, I put Catchy handheld on, and I got it booting into desktop, but I can go back to the mode and change it to TDP whenever I want. So I'm happy on both of those. So I finally got everything working. And then to reward myself, I was going to do a legendary. So never going good when on a legendary, my two teammates go to the right, I went to the left. I can't really kill anything. I'm a glue guy in this build. What's a glue guy? I can pick people up, I have a decoy, and I vial jam. So I'm knocking down the dogs, I'm knocking down the drones, I'm putting status effect dots on everyone within the range, and I got a decoy that's maximum. Both are like level 30. So I'm really doing that, and I can pick people up. And with Unbreakable, I got twice the armor. So I want you to kind of think about that, because when it breaks, then I got a whole nother 95%, so I have 195% armor. And that's how I use it. So what you're going to see in here is me throwing out strategically the decoy. Sometimes bad placement, sometimes too close to me, but sometimes it's all I can do. Right, I'm rushing to do something else, and I'm just trying to get the decoy out there, because I'm hearing the drones coming in or something like that. So I've made the switch, and this is what I would tell you. I don't need Windows for anything except games. And is it worth having all that Microsoft stuff? Not really to me. I will say this, the Mac M4, when I can get it to play games with Steam and crossover, it's just bulletproof. It's, I mean, it has like 10 cores or 8 cores for the graphics processor, but it's like a pretty good graphics card. So I think that's a good setup. So, I mean, my recommendation, if you're Black Friday, I'd get myself a Mac M4. And then you're going to get the thing called crossover. It's really wine. And so as you get into Linux, you might learn more about wine, whatever. The thing it doesn't have Proton. At least I haven't checked into it yet. But Proton makes all this stuff pretty easy to game. That's what I would spend. So part of me goes, but I need, I had to make a handheld Catchy ISO. So I went into Catchy and it was like, we don't believe in having programs. We believe in doing sudo commands. Right? And so I told you there's some things sudo is great, like if you're opening up the package manager, Pacman in the case of Catchy, I think. It's okay. But I did their instructions, did everything, and it said level not high enough. And I was like, done with you. So Balin Etcher is something I've mentioned before. Other people have used it. I loaded it on the Mac. It did a great job. I had screwed up. Let me tell you another thing, YouTube. So what I do on most of my computers, I am a serial. You know I like making alts on all my characters. I like throwing as many different versions of Linux on a system as possible. Here's what I didn't realize. It's just leaving garbage in the boot thing. So I looked at a bunch of things and how can I fix that? And you text edit and all seems relatively easy. And then I found some kind of command that would like automatically fix it for you. So I said, great, automatically fix it. That made the handheld, it just wouldn't boot and went immediately to a bad screen. It was hard to get it to go to the boot into the BIOS. Like it wouldn't do that each time because the screen was so fast. But I eventually got it in there. I loaded up Catchy and I was like, damn it, I want Catchy handheld. Then had to restart, went through the whole mess. And what I tried to do is overwrite a partition. And really the way to make it work, to overcome all these problems, I just said erase the whole disk and start from scratch. Don't replace. Replacing didn't work. It worked in a dual boot system if I had screwed up the drive. Let's say you got a brand new machine and you've been really thinking about, I gotta keep my drive integrity in the right. If you're doing that and you can have all these contiguous blocks and you know your recovery's on the end and your boot's on the other end and you only got the middle, then you know maybe. Then at that point you can replace. But what I found, the things that no one told me, YouTube, there's when Steam has to put a non-Steam game in, it just dumps it into your home root directory or whatever directory on your drive. It doesn't put it on your extended. So you have to think about Steam like this. In the case of the Legion Go, I have a terabyte hard drive. I have a terabyte SDHC card. All my downloadable Steam games that I can buy from the store and load from the store, I will put on the SDHC. And anything that I'm going to add non-Steam game, I'm just going to let it default wherever it goes. I tried to start Lutris, but I said, this is another thing. I barely get Steam working. Not barely get Steam working, but there's some things that happen with Steam libraries that, you know, when I look on the internet, there's no comprehensive thing to tell you how to do everything. Because probably we're all gamers and we just want to game, not tinker around with our PCs. So we're in the middle here and we're surviving. So these guys got those high DPS builds. And one guy has like a heal in there. And then one guy has a damaging hive. So it's a pretty good group. And you're seeing I'm running around and I'm just rezzing people nonstop. And I went from my test subjects, which gives 20% increase to skill damage, which is good for your decoy and my pulse, but I went with the Scorpio shotgun because it just is crowd control. So when Chungas come, you eventually put a stagger or a shock on them and they freeze. I also sped it up to like 1.1 times. It was like 19 minutes to do this last part. Got it down to 16. I didn't shrink the screen so you can see what everyone's health is. Because I thought that was interesting to see what's happening. This is how we killed On this tidal basin, if you've never been there, there's 3 lasers, YouTube, and they have generators that power the lasers. So you have to knock out the generators by shooting a yellow part on the generator that stops the laser. There's 6 waves, I think, that come usually with a chunga and some dogs. The very first time I fought this, we went to the left side and stayed in a little container in there, and we fought it the whole way. And that's when I had this build on, and they just couldn't kill me because I had a healing hive and the pulse, and I was just unstoppable. I could kill a lot of people, but I could shut dogs down, shut down the drones. Since then, sometimes we go to right, or sometimes we do a clockwise move. We go to left first, then go to the middle. Then you're almost out of ammo. You go to the right, you take out the right generator, then you go back to there's like an upper platform. This is what we did. I went to the left, didn't kill anything. 2 guys went to the right, killed something. Then we all came back to the right. Then the one guy went over to the left, and then he came back and killed it. Then we had one guy came in, and he quit because he didn't like the other guy who got in got killed first. He was a tank guy. We couldn't get him. He was exposed. I went out and got him. You'll see that. He's in a place I keep going out and trying to get him. And eventually he goes and takes care of the middle one. And it was easy. High DPS. Low survivability. Pretty decent survivability, but high DPS. So it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Just like this Linux install wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Looking back, which is what you should do all the time, in hindsight, I wasn't ready to make the switch from Linux all the way to Windows. Why? Because in my previous experience, Linux couldn't run every piece of hardware. What Linux can do now, like they could run my POS Legion Go, like down to the pulling up the screens and all the other stuff. Why was I keeping Windows? So I just overrode it and haven't looked back. I'm sharing all this with you because if I told you to just clean it all, now I would say that's the right thing, but you've got to see that and know why. Right? Because really, if someone's not willing to switch from Windows, they're never going to fully dabble in it or switch from a Mac or whatever it is. And so it reminded me a lot, in the Coast Guard, don't get off the boat unless you're going to go all the way. You can't have a foot in both worlds. You got to get in and get out. My mom told me when I met my wife, my youngest son was already here. And my mom said, unless you're in love with him like he's your own son, then don't even get involved. And so we dated a little bit, and I knew that I love my son. He makes me very happy. I'm very proud of him, and I'm very happy for him. He's very successful, in spite of me, YouTube. So as I've gotten older, maybe I get more cautious not to rush in. When I was younger, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, right? A little bit more cautious, but I have had some time to work on this and do this, so I just bit the bullet and did it, and I'm not looking back. But you may have to take some half steps to get there, but ultimately, then you're just going to have to dive in. It's not going to hurt. And let's say it's horrible. Let's say Black Friday comes, maybe I buy one of those, like the machine I'm telling you I can buy one for $300 that it's a box. It'll do everything these things do. But why would I do that when the majority of the computers are here can do all the games I want? And I did like to try Ark Explorers, but I'm scared of the PvP, so I'm a little bit about that. And that's a lot of stuff, and I can tell you that. It's my psychosis why I don't want to do PvE or PvP. So that's kind of the story Everything's working. It works, but I want it to work. I don't want to say the right way because there's, you know, but it was always a compromise. Always in the back of my head, there was a crutch there. So I'm happy I did it. And listen, my #1 game I want to play is Division 2. And I can play all the other games that I want. But like, that's really my bread and butter kind of comfort chicken soup game. But Guild Wars is jamming. Start playing a Necromancer, Unkillable. So trying to push that ahead. ESO's good. Star Wars, I put that out just the other day. That game's still kicking, even with the restrictions. So you have a lot of good choices. There's a lot of good choices for games out there. And I always buy those WoW expansions. I don't stay in them anymore, but I at least buy them, so I might go into WoW again. If they'd let me fly more, I'd be happier. So YouTube, look, we did it. We finished it. I didn't think this group would do it. I was a glue guy today. Didn't have to be #1. Appreciate everyone. Like, subscribe. Like, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Thank you, YouTube. This is Ronin Kaze out.